Tesla's share price is on its way to $400. The question is when? I'll answer that question. I'll give you my prediction at the end of the video and also say to the end, I'll give you a risk that Tesla investors should pay close attention to. All right, in this video, I'll cover three things. Number one is that earnings report. I'll keep it short and sweet. Number two is some major news with Tesla. And number three, what does Tykr have to say about this stock? All right, let's get to it. First off, they had a big earnings report. They beat their estimate, their EPS estimate by 24%. Their estimate was 58 cents and it came in at 72 cents. That's huge. And the revenue, that was a little bit of a miss. They were estimated at 25.3 million and they came in at 25.1 million. Now keep in mind, with those earnings reports, EPS is the number one most important metric. That's essentially the profits of a company. Revenue, yes, it's important, but EPS is more important. And number two, let's dive into the news. So this is really big news for Tesla investors. So Donald Trump is essentially establishing a framework to regulate and place self-driving cars as a priority. So that was really good for Tesla. Also, Elon Musk did show off a robo-taxi. It's called a Cybercab. It'll cost about $30,000. It'll have 2 seats, no steering wheel, and no pedals. He wants to start releasing those Cybercabs to the public in 2026 and eventually make about 2 million Cybercabs per year. Now, regarding autonomous vehicles, S&P Global recently put out an article stating that we could see about 1.5 million autonomous vehicles sold by 2034. So there's not going to be like a immediate rush of autonomous vehicles over the next few years. Yes, Tesla wants to be early in 2026, but really adoption is expected to be pretty slow even in the US. So 2034 is the year, and then the EU will probably be a few years after that. So this is going to be really a long ramp up, but one of the leaders in this space, of course, for autonomous vehicles is Tesla. Moving beyond autonomous vehicles, this was really interesting. So the Cybertruck is now the third best-selling EV behind the Model 3, the Tesla Model 3, and the Model Y. And then as I mentioned, the risk at the beginning of the video, that would be BYD. So I did an analysis on the top selling EVs around the world in 2024, and BYD has 5 of those spots. I think Tesla has like 2. They're selling a lot of vehicles and they're selling at a much lower price than Tesla. So just keep in mind when people are shopping for an EV, sure, Tesla is it's a solid vehicle, but when the rubber meets the road, no pun intended, and they want to, spend tens of thousands of dollars, well, price is a big factor, and that's why the lower price car, it usually wins. So BYD is a threat, and on top of it, they are also working on autonomous vehicles. So if you're a Tesla investor, just be very aware of what BYD is doing. I think Tesla's doing great right now, but there's a lot of EV manufacturers around the world, and I'm looking at BYD as the big threat. All right, moving on to the last step here, number 3, which is taking a look at Tykr. So we'll use a framework I call the 7. It's 7 key steps to find a strong stock. Fortunately, Tykr does a lot of heavy lifting for us behind the scenes. There's a few other people that make comments on YouTube about you're not looking at enough data points. Well, for context, Tykr, the software, it analyzes somewhere between like 50 and 75 data points within seconds per stock. We analyze, millions of data points per day based on all the stocks in the platform, but this thing does a lot of heavy lifting for us. So essentially, when we look for a buy, it's a 2-step process. Is it an on-sale stock? And is that 4M? 4M is powered by OpenAI. Is that 80 or higher? A sell is a 3-step process where your on-sale stock switches to watch or overpriced. Step 2, that 4M drops to 59 or lower. And step 3 is all about rule 1 investing. Rule 1, don't lose money. Rule 2, don't forget rule 1. We have Warren Buffett to thank for that. So let's use the 7. You're going to see these signals here as we go. So number 1, looking at my screen here, this stock is on sale. So we are 1 for 1. Step 2, we've got a score over 50. The higher the score, the safer the investment. And this here, if you guys don't know, you can look at our open source calculations. We look at 8 lines on the financial statement. So just go over those real quick. Financial statements are here. Income statement, you've got revenue, net income, and EPS. Cash flow statement, you have free cash flow. And balance sheet, you have assets, liabilities, debts, and equity. We look at 4 years, or essentially 16 quarters, to make sure the right numbers are moving up and the other numbers are moving down. That would be debts and liabilities. But anyway, jumping back to that Tykr rating page. So our score is over 50. So we're 2 for 2. Margin of safety, we are 3 for 3. We want to be over 50%. The higher the percent, the higher potential returns you can make. Then number 4 in the middle, we're at a 79. So we're right there at 80. I'm going to round it up here. We're going to say 4 for 4 because the 4M tool is highly rigorous. You can watch other videos that talk about what we look at, but it looks at more than just the numbers. It also looks at the business model, how many revenue streams, it looks at the competition, and it also looks at the track record of management. All right, so we are 4 for 4. Let's go down. This is the 5th thing I looked at, which is a 5-year returns. For context, we like to invest in stocks that are beating the market consistently, not just 1 year, but multiple years. And we know that past performance does not guarantee future results, but it gives us another layer of confidence. We have a stock that's consistently beating the market. So if you look down here, we're at 1,300% over 5 years. That is another item we like to see. That's great. So we're 5 for 5. Let's keep going. We'll jump to the financials tab. We like to look at EPS. 3 consecutive quarters increasing in a row. Check this out. Sure, it was December of 23. They had a big spike. Then it fell off, but since we have 3 consecutive quarters, so 37 cents, 46 cents, and 68 cents. That's exactly what we're looking for. We are 6 for 6. Let's go to the earnings calendar. And you can see here we had a few misses in a row. I like to see 3 consecutive quarters where they beat estimates. In this case, we only have 1. They're at 24%. So overall, Tesla, they're not a 7 for 7, they are 6 for 7, which is still really good. If I see like a 5 out of 7, that's really hard to do. So overall, this stock here running on all cylinders, great financials. I do not invest in Tesla just because my fears of the competition around the globe, but I like to create videos on Tesla just to kind of give you guys a heads up. I know some of you are Tesla super fans, which is fine, but keep in mind the one thing is that competition around the globe, it is heating up, but Tesla continues to impress me quarter over quarter. So the big question here is, when will the stock hit 400? So looking at the fair value, this is the estimated fair value in 10 years. It's a very conservative estimate. Of course, you can read about our calculations. I mentioned that earlier. You go to Tykr.com, go to education and then calculations. If you really want, you can go create your own version of Tykr. But this share price in 10 years, yeah, it could definitely hit 1,700 in 10 years. As for $400, I definitely see this stock hitting $400 within the next 12 months or less. If things keep going with the good news on those earnings reports, plus news with autonomous vehicles and the government getting behind that, it's a good place to be for investors. When you have the government getting involved and giving you positive indicators on a product that could potentially be sold to a lot of people, it's a great place to be. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Where do you think the share price is going in the next 12 months? If you like this video, hit that like button. If you want to see more videos, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. And of course, if you want to buy and sell stocks on your own with confidence, I invite you to join Tykr for free. All right, we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.